The Nintendo Switch 2's launch may be defined by a brand new Mario Kart, but a lot of ports and re-releases of games that have been available on other platforms will make their way to the Nintendo Switch 2 in the coming months. In this series, we'll tell you why it is worth considering to pick up some games you may not have had the chance to play yet, if you've only played games on the Nintendo Switch. Today, we dive into Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster. So to start, just what the hell is Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster? Well, I'm glad you asked, because the quick answer is that it's a light touch HD remaster of a 3DS RPG from Square Enix from more than a decade ago. While it has no direct game ties to Final Fantasy, it has a development lineage and originally started as a Final Fantasy project. On DS, Square Enix released Final Fantasy: The Four Heroes of Light, a game that has the numeral 4, like not it's spelled out, it's just 4 Heroes of Light. It's a throwback RPG that was heavily inspired by the job system in Final Fantasy 3 and 5. The game's producer, Tomoyo Asano, started working on a sequel after 4 Heroes of Light's release, and that eventually became a brand new IP on 3DS in the form of Bravely Default Flying Fairy. Bravely Default was a major third-party announcement in the first year of the 3DS, getting revealed for Japan after the system's launch in 2011. It then had 5 different demos that incrementally showed off more of the game, like character control and the turn-based battle system. 4 of those demos are borderline lost media because they were taken down from the 3DS eShop when the 5th and final demo came out. Bravely Default launched in Japan in 2012, but we've actually never technically seen that game in English, because an updated version called Bravely Default for the sequel came out in 2013 that added tons of tweaks and changes to the gameplay, as well as some ideas for the in-development sequel. Bravely Default eventually came out in Europe in 2013 and North America in 2014, with both versions based on the For the Sequel version. This is collectively a reminder that it wasn't all that long ago when this disparity of releases between regions wasn't uncommon. Like, you had it all the time, where like Europe would get a game in like November, then it wouldn't come out until North America until like May. Anyway, Square Enix and developer Silicon Studio then went to work on Bravely Second End Layer, a 3DS sequel with another weird subtitle that came out in 2015 or 2016, depending on your region. See, this was just a thing that happened back then. Things didn't come out at the same time like they do now. We're all spoiled. Years later, another sequel called Bravely Default 2, no answers for the naming conventions that there was a sequel that wasn't Bravely Default 2, but then there was a game called Bravely Default 2 that was later. It's technically the 3rd game in the series. But regardless, that came out on Nintendo Switch in 2021. Same time everywhere. We're getting back to like what things are like now. Bravely Default as a series and concept also has ties to other Switch Square Enix games, as the producer of all the games, I mentioned him earlier, Tomoyo Asano, is also known for his work on HD 2D games, such as Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy, and they're all broadly part of the same family tree as Bravely Default. So with all of that groundwork laid, what does Bravely Default play like? Well, once again, I'm glad you asked. It's more or less a modernish take on the 90s era Super Nintendo RPGs. Bravely Default is heavily based around a job system and has a turn-based system that is explained in the name of the game. You can brave or default when you choose one of your 4 party members' actions. To brave is to take multiple turns at once, whereas when you default, you defend and bank a turn for a later round. It makes for a pretty snappy battle system at times, as you can just spam attacks against random enemies, but you can also get very strategic as to when you unleash hell. Related to random enemies and battles, Bravely Default has a slider to change the frequency of random enemies. It's one of the many different tweaks to the standard turn-based RPG formula that made this feel so fresh when it came out on 3DS. It also had a lot of neat Street Pass and Spot Pass features on 3DS that would do things like let you call in a friend's party for a powerful attack. There's also an entire town that you can populate with villagers you find via Streets Pass. That is being brought over in some form in the Switch 2 release, but kinda time will tell to see how much it translates. So now that we're talking about the Switch 2 release, what makes this version of Bravely Default different on Nintendo Switch 2? As far as we know, it's structurally the same game, with most of the changes being in additional minigames and some design and mechanical tweaks. Design-wise, it's got HD graphics and a redesigned UI. It's still evident that this was a 3DS game, but it looks like it's closer to the presentation and style of Bravely Default 2 on Switch. Bravely Default on 3DS was built around using stereoscopic 3D, and this was a good-looking 3D game. That won't be replicated here on the Switch 2 because it doesn't have stereoscopic 3D yet. The Street Pass and Spot Pass modes have seemingly been retooled for Switch 2's online functionality, so you can theoretically populate your Street Pass town with online Switch 2 folks and call in online friends to attack your foes in battle, I think. Some unknowns still linger, like if you can use the touchscreen, or even the mouse, to interact with your little Street Pass town. You could also earn sleep points, or SP, when the game was running, but you weren't playing, like say when your 3DS was clamshelled shut. Those could be used in battle to revive characters or do a super powerful attack. It's not a game changer, but it's a feature that I don't think will likely be in the Switch 2 version. That being said, it's more of like a helper than it is a core fundamental part of the game. The one major difference that is both off-putting and weird is that the ability to set random encounter rates to 0 is not available when you start the game. There's word out there that you should be able to do it at some point in the game, but initially you can only go as low as 50% encounter rate. Also, in the original game, you could speed up the pace of battles up to 4 times as fast. In the HD Remaster, you can now speed up cutscenes so you can just get all that story crap out of the way. 2 Switch 2 focused minigames are also added. They both make use of mouse controls. One is Luxenshire Rhythm Catch, which is a little rhythm game, and Ring a Bell's Panic Cruise, which seemingly involves the character Ring a Bell playing Pilot Wings, I think. Alright, we're getting near the end here. I got 2 more things to give you all a heads up about. First, the good news. The soundtrack is by Revo and it friggin' rocks, man. It's awesome soundtrack. Even if you don't want to deal with the weird 3DS HD visuals or like the turn-based battle system, listen to the soundtrack, it's real good. Second, the story of Bravely Default is divisive. I won't go into too much detail because an explanation gets spoiler-laden very quickly, but just be warned. Personally, I find the story interesting in the fact that it gets a little meta, but I also don't fault anyone who dropped the game once the twist reveals itself. To wrap this sucker up, how would I describe this game to Nintendo fans? It's like a Final Fantasy game, kinda. Like, did you like the HD 2D games on Switch, like Octopath Traveler, Live Alive, and Dragon Quest III HD 2D? Are you excited for Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D and just need something on your Switch 2 right now to satisfy that Japanese RPG urge? Do you fancy yourself someone who loves a good job system in an RPG? Is Final Fantasy V your favorite Final Fantasy game? Then step right up and get ready to brave and default, likely in equal measure. Either way, Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster is coming out alongside the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 on June 5th, 2025. We will likely have more coverage of the game at Nintendo World Report, so check that out. I'm personally looking forward to experiencing this game again. It's been about, 10 years or so since I played it, and I kind of enjoy these games, so looking forward to it. Let me know what you think about this game and your excitement level about this and the potential for more Bravely Default games in the future in the comments and stuff. Later.
This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Did you know that Nintendo World Report is funded directly by fans like you? When you support Nintendo World Report on Patreon, you get immediate access to multiple exclusive podcasts every month, exclusive Discord channels, an early look at select content, and more, all for as little as $1 a month. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.